The stars above Varellus 9 shimmered like specks of ice, distant and unbothered by the clutter of satellites and junk that orbited below. Somewhere among the rusted hulls and frozen corpses of spacefaring dreams drifted a single cracked escape pod, its beacon long dead. Riven Terrell adjusted the controls of his rust bucket shuttle. Tinker, one boot propped against the dashboard as he squinted at the scanner. Unregistered pod, he muttered. No signal, no ID, that's either jackpot or a trap. The salvage game didn't make him rich, but it kept him free. Freedom tasted like stale air and metal, but it was better than debt chains or corporate indenture. He docked with the pod, grabbed his plasma cutter and drifted out through the airlock. The pod's outer shell was scorched and cracked. One good slice and he was inside. Heat, stale air, a faint scent like cinnamon and ozone, and then movement. Inside the cramped pod, nestled among tangled wires and flickering emergency lights, was a figure, slender, humanoid, but not quite human. She stirred. Her skin, or was it fur, shimmered with a faint violet sheen. Her limbs were elongated, fingers tipped with retractable claws. Her hair was wild, knotted with gold cords and matted streaks of blood. Riven reached out. Hey, you okay? Can you? Her eyes snapped open. Slit pupils, bright as dying suns. Then she lunged, claws slashed across his chest as they tumbled into the walls of the pod. He cried out, trying to pin her without hurting her. She hissed, literally hissed, and sank sharp fangs into the flesh of his shoulder. Agony, blinding heat. Then, darkness. He awoke on the floor of his shuttle. His body was drenched in sweat. The wound burned like fire, but when he looked, the skin was already closing. And then he heard it. What are you? A voice. In his head. He sat up. What the hell? Who said that? I did. And you're loud. He turned. The alien woman, feline, elegant, still injured, was curled on his medbed. Her eyes were watching him, and though her lips didn't move, her voice echoed inside his skull. Riven scrambled back, knocking over a toolbox. You're in my head. You touched me. I bit you. The bond is formed. I didn't mean to. I thought you were an enemy. Bond? What bond? No, I didn't sign up for this. His vision blurred. He could feel her confusion, her pain, her fear, and something else, curiosity. A deep, strange tug pulling him closer, like a magnetic force. He steadied himself on the wall. Okay, what the hell did you do to me? She blinked slowly. Where I'm from, biting during fear can sometimes trigger a bond. It links mind to mind, senses to senses. It's supposed to be sacred. I thought I was dying. I didn't mean to choose you. Well, thanks for the honor, he growled. Can we, undo it? Silence, then. Maybe. But if it's fully settled, breaking it could kill one of us. Or both. He stared at her. Fantastic. Over. The next few hours they talked. Well, half spoke, half thought. Her name was Nayari. Her species had no homeworld anymore, scattered across galaxies, hunted for their abilities. Some called them dream cats, others night stalkers. Most feared them. She had escaped from a lab. She wouldn't tell him what they'd done to her. But the way she shuddered when he asked said enough. You're not just bonded to me, she told him later, eyes half-lidded. We share senses now. I can feel the edge of your hunger. You crave sugar badly. Riven glared. Stop digging in my brain. Stop broadcasting like a wounded ferret. As odd as it was, the link was real. He started sensing things he couldn't explain. A twitch before she moved. The scent of ozone before it registered in his nose, even flashes of emotion that weren't his own. Worse, he was changing. His fingernails sharpened slightly. His pupils narrowed in low light. He caught himself stretching like a cat, arching his back, and letting out a very involuntary purr while fixing the engine coolant valve. Not funny, he shouted, as she laughed in his head. Very funny. But not all was a joke. A beacon pinged on his long-range comm, encrypted. Hunter code. Someone had tracked the pod, and they were coming fast. He turned to Nayari, who had suddenly gone still. You know what this means? She nodded, her face grim. They want me back. And now, you too. Great. But even as alarms blinked red and engines roared to life, Riven felt something strange stir inside him. A sense of her. Of them. Not just a bond. Something deeper. Something feral. The sharp hum of engines filled the cramped cockpit of the Tinker as Riven gripped the controls tighter than he'd ever held anything in his life. Behind them, the sleek black silhouette of a hunter ship cut through the void like a predator closing in on prey. Nayari's eyes, those strange violet slits, were fixed on the stars ahead, but inside his head, her voice trembled with urgency. They're close. If they catch us, it's not just me, it's you too. Riven swallowed hard. The bite on his shoulder still tingled, a persistent reminder of the bond between them. Ever since that night in the pod, he'd felt it everywhere. A strange pull in his muscles, a flicker of light behind his eyelids, and most unnerving of all, her thoughts mingling with his own like a persistent whisper. Any chance you can jink us off their trail? He asked, fingers dancing over the console. Maybe, but it'll take a detour through the binding moon. The binding moon? Riven echoed. That place is a death trap. Nayari hesitated. It's sacred to my people. Hidden. Protected. By rituals only a few still remember. I know a healer there. Shaneth. If anyone can help us understand the bond, it's him. Riven eyed the looming hunter ship, blinking ever closer. Sacred or not, we're out of options. He pushed the throttle forward, turning the Tinker sharply toward the dense asteroid belt surrounding the so-called binding moon, a mysterious satellite cloaked in legend and danger. Hours later, the battered ship slipped into the shadow of the moon's jagged peaks. The binding moon was nothing like the barren rocks Riven expected. It pulsed faintly with an eerie blue glow, like a heartbeat beneath the surface. As they touched down on a narrow ledge, Riven's eyes scanned the strange terrain. Twisted crystalline growths and whispering winds that sounded almost like voices. Nayari limped beside him, her form still sleek and feline, but clearly weakened by the chase and the bond's toll. Shaneth is near, she whispered. Follow me. They trekked through the cold caverns beneath the moon's crust until they reached a small enclave. A village carved into glowing crystal, where the air smelled of herbs and something ancient. An old man greeted them with piercing amber eyes that seemed to see through flesh into soul. I am Shaneth, he said, voice rough as stone but gentle as moss. You carry the mark of the bond. Not many survive it without becoming lost. Riven swallowed. We need help. This bond, it's messing with my head and I'm changing. Claws, instincts. I feel her in me all the time. Shaneth nodded. The bond is more than a link. It is a fusion of two beings, a shared heartbeat and breath. To sever it is to risk tearing the very essence apart. Nayari stepped forward. Can it be undone? Shaneth's gaze darkened. Some bonds are meant to last lifetimes, others, eternity. Breaking them requires ritual and sacrifice. Riven's heart hammered. What kind of sacrifice? Shaneth looked at him, eyes deep pools of sorrow and warning. To break the bond is to risk death, madness, or worse. Your minds are intertwined now. You must learn to live with it, or perish trying to escape. While they debated their impossible choices, the hunter ship's crew closed in. Lurking in the shadows, a tall figure watched, a bounty hunter named Leora Fenn, known for her ruthless efficiency and cold pragmatism. Her scanner had locked onto the Tinker's signature. She smiled grimly. So, you're hiding the Dreamcat, she muttered, worth a fortune to the right buyer. Lacking weapons, Riven and Nayari were vulnerable. But they had something else now. The bond. Their senses sharpened, thoughts sinking in strange harmony. When Leora's team ambushed them, the fight was unlike anything Riven had faced. His reflexes quickened, his senses stretching beyond human limits. He saw the flicker of movement before it happened. Nayari's claws slashed with preternatural speed. Amidst the chaos, Leora hesitated, caught off guard by the undeniable connection between human and feline hybrid. "Wait," she said sharply, lowering her weapon. "What's this bond? How is it possible?" Breathing hard, Riven met her gaze. "She bit me. Now we're linked. I'm stuck with her." Nayari nodded slowly. "And I can feel your every thought." Lacking her usual merciless edge, Leora made an unexpected offer. "I'm chasing a bounty too, but maybe we can help each other. I know someone who might understand this bond better. Someone with knowledge of ancient feline rights." Shaneth's warning echoed in Riven's mind, but desperation won over caution. "Fine," Riven said. "But if this goes sideways..." "It will," Leora interrupted with a sardonic grin. That night, as the three of them shared a fire under the eerie blue light of the binding moon, Riven found himself feeling something he hadn't in a long time. Uneasy alliance, and maybe trust. Yet beneath the surface, the bond throbbed like a living thing, pulling them closer, deeper, into a fate none of them could escape. And as the hunters closed in, the question burned brighter than the stars outside. Was this bond a curse? Or the beginning of something else entirely? The vast neon glow of Zephora's undercity sprawled beneath them like a jungle of steel and secrets. Riven, Nayari, and Leora had slipped into the city's tangled warrens, places where laws were whispers and every shadow could hide a threat. Riven flexed his fingers, noticing the subtle changes that had crept further since the bond took hold. His nails sharpened into tiny claws and his eyes adapted to dim light with a feline grace he never wanted. The urge to prowl, to hunt, gnawed at his thoughts. Nayari walked beside him, her violet eyes always watchful, her sleek form lithe and silent as a ghost. "It's getting worse," Riven muttered. "The bond's not just in my head anymore, it's changing me." Lips curling, Nayari replied, "It means the bond is strengthening. We're more connected, body and mind. But if you resist, it will fight back." "Great," he said grimly. "So I'm part cat now. More than part. The bond marks you, like the legends say." Leora, scanning the alleys, added, "And those legends speak of a prophesied bridge, someone who could unite our species or doom them both." Riven paused. "Bridge? What do you mean?" "There's a faction," Leora explained. "A group of feline-born rebels led by Dravik Jin. They believe the bond is sacred, that whoever carries it could save their kind from extinction." The name stirred something deep in Nayari's eyes. "Dravik is a warrior and a visionary. He fights to free our people from hunting and exile." "Well," Riven said with a sigh, "we could use an ally." They found Dravik in the heart of Zephora's slums, a tall, muscular feline hybrid, with glowing amber eyes and scars tracing his jaw. His presence radiated authority, tempered by fierce compassion. "So you are the human marked by the bite," Dravik said, eyes narrowing at Riven. "The bridge we've heard whispered about in shadows." Riven rubbed his clawed fingers. "Does that make me special, or just screwed?" Dravik chuckled, the sound low and rumbling. "Both. The bond is rare and powerful. It can grant strength, senses, and insight, but only if you accept it. Resistance only invites torment." Nayari stepped forward. "We want to learn to control it, but it's affecting him, physically and mentally." Dravik nodded. "There's a black market tech dealer, Kess Arlo. She traffics in rare biotech and artifacts. She might have devices to help regulate the bond's effects." Riven grimaced. "You mean the smuggler I left behind years ago, if she's still alive?" Finding Kess Arlo was a challenge. Rumors placed her on the floating city of Nakora, a maze of neon bazaars and illegal dens. When they finally tracked her down, she was everything Riven remembered, witty, fierce, and with a dangerous glint in her eye. "Riven," she said, voice dripping with surprise and something more. "Didn't expect to see you crawling back for help?" "Well," Riven replied, "I'm part cat now. Thought maybe you'd have a gizmo or two for this thing." Kess smirked, examining Nayari and the faint shimmer between them. "Bond tech? You're playing a risky game." She pulled out a compact device, an adaptive neural regulator designed, to sync human and alien neural pathways. This might ease your symptoms, slow down the changes. Riven took the device cautiously. And the side effects? Might dull your senses. Could make you feel disconnected. But better than turning into a full-on feline freak. Nayari's eyes flickered. Or we could embrace it. The bond is our future, not our prison. Riven looked at her, torn. Embrace the change or fight. It both sound terrifying. The choice became urgent when a syndicate raid ambushed them in Nakora's alleys. Mercenaries armed with pulse rifles and stun nets swarmed. Targeting Nayari, Riven's reflexes snapped. Claws out, senses blazing. He fought like a wildcat unleashed. Nayari mirrored his ferocity, their bond syncing their movements like a deadly dance. Amid the chaos, Dravik's rebels appeared, turning the tide with brutal efficiency. After the fight, Dravik clasped Riven's shoulder. You are becoming more than human. Your bond is a weapon and a symbol. It will change the course of this war. Riven, breathless, met Nayari's eyes, now glowing softly in the moonlight. Then maybe we don't want to break the bond after all. Nayari smiled faintly, her voice echoing in his mind. It chose you. Maybe it was always meant to. The moon hung low over the city of Xiren, casting silver light over the rooftops and the tangled web of alleys below. Riven, Nayari, and Dravik slipped through the shadows, their senses sharp and alert. The bond between Riven and Nayari pulsed stronger than ever, a living tether pulling them closer, melding their thoughts and emotions in ways neither fully understood. Riven rubbed his clawed hand over his temple, trying to focus. Since the regulator Kes Arlo had given him, the worst of the physical changes had eased, but the mental connection was growing harder to manage. You're pushing yourself too hard. Nayari's voice whispered inside his mind, soft and concerned. I don't have a choice, Riven replied aloud, glancing over his shoulder. If the syndicate catches us, it's over. Dravik's grim voice interrupted. We strike tonight. The syndicate's main outpost holds data we need. A chance to cripple their operations and give our people a fighting chance. Nayari's violet eyes flickered. But it's heavily guarded. We'll have to move carefully. Under the cover of darkness, the trio crept toward the syndicate's fortress, a towering labyrinth of steel and neon, buzzing with patrols and automated turrets. Every step tested Riven's new feline agility, his enhanced hearing catching the faintest footsteps, his eyes slicing through the gloom. They slipped inside through a maintenance shaft, navigating corridors where danger lurked behind every corner. Stay close, Dravik murmured. We only get one shot. As they approached the data core, Riven felt a sudden surge, the bond reacting violently, a flood of emotions and instincts crashing through him. He staggered, claws digging into the metal. Floor, Riven? Nayari's voice trembled inside his mind. Focus, I'm here. Breathing deeply, he forced the chaos down, syncing with her calm, steady heartbeat. Together, they hacked the core, extracting encrypted files revealing syndicate secrets, slave trades, illegal experiments, and the location of captive dreamcats. Like Nayari, the alarms blared moments later. We're out of time, Dravik snapped. The escape was a blur of gunfire and sharp turns. Riven's enhanced senses gave them an edge, but the bond's strain showed, his mind aching from the mental push-pull. Amid the chaos, Nayari caught a glimpse of a familiar figure, Kes Arlo, fighting mercenaries with ruthless precision. Kes? Riven shouted. She spun around, locking eyes with him. Thought you could use a hand. Together, they broke through the barricades, racing into the neon night. Back at their hidden base, the stolen data revealed a shocking truth. The syndicate planned to weaponize the Dreamcat bond, turning hybrids into uncontrollable soldiers. If they succeed, Nayari said grimly, there won't be any choice left, only chains. Riven clenched his fists. Then we have to stop them. No matter what it costs, Dravik nodded. Our rebellion is just beginning. But as they prepared for the next move, the bond pulsed violently, a surge of heat and light bursting between Riven and Nayari. Suddenly, Riven collapsed, convulsing as visions flooded his mind, memories not his own, a forgotten past, ancient feline rights, and a prophecy of a bond that could either unite worlds or shatter them forever. When he awoke, Nayari's voice was urgent. "You've seen the truth. The bond is more than a link, it's a legacy. You're part of something far bigger." Riven swallowed hard. The weight of fate pressed down on him, but beneath it all, a fierce determination burned. Whatever this bond means, we fight. Together. The city of Xiron trembled under the weight of impending war. Syndicate forces had mobilized, hunting the rebellion and those linked by the feline bond. Riven and Nayari stood atop a crumbling rooftop, the neon glow casting sharp shadows on their intertwined forms. The bond between them pulsed like a living heartbeat, no longer just a curse but a source of strength that had reshaped who they were. "This ends tonight," Dravik's voice crackled in their comms. "The Syndicate's weapon lab is vulnerable. If we take it down, we cripple their army." Riven flexed his claws, feeling the power coursing through him. "I'm ready." Nayari's violet eyes softened. "We face this as one. No turning back." They infiltrated the lab beneath the city, a sprawling complex filled with humming machines designed to strip dreamcats of their will, twisting bonds into weapons. As alarms blared, Riven and Nayari moved like shadows, their synced minds guiding every step. Dravik's rebels fought fiercely at their backs. In the heart of the lab, they confronted Syndicate Commander Varen Kal, a ruthless hybrid who had undergone experimental bonding, twisted and unstable. "You think your bond is special?" Varen sneered, claws flashing. "It's a weapon, a tool for power." Riven met his gaze, voice steady. "It's more than that. It's connection, hope." The battle was brutal. Claws and pulse weapons clashing, minds pushing against each other in a war of wills. But the bond gave Riven and Nayari an edge. A harmony of instincts and intellect no one else could match. With a final surge, they overpowered Varen, shattering the control devices and freeing captive dreamcats. In the aftermath, the rebellion celebrated a hard-won victory. Bonds once feared became symbols of unity between species. Riven stood beside Nayari, feeling the bond no longer as a chain, but as a promise. "I was stuck with you," he said softly, "but maybe this bond was meant to be." Nayari smiled, her voice echoing in his mind and heart. "Always." As dawn broke over Xiron, two souls, once strangers bound by a bite, looked toward a future they would face together, forever tethered by fate, strength, and love.